Hey, hey, welcome back. Glad you made it back here to Life of Ben. We had a wonderful week in Vermont. We made it back in one piece. It was great to spend a week on Lake Champlain with family, and we had a fantastic time. And even the car rides back and forth there were wonderful. I mean, Rachel and Jacob were just, well, okay, well, maybe not. But later on, we had singing and we had okay, but once we got there, it was a wonderful time. Loved the swimming, loved the blueberries. Well, you know what? Instead of my telling you about it, take a look at these for a minute.
To find you, if you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. We'll find out what we're made of when we are called and help our friends in need. Nice. On me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, you can count on me, 'cause I can count on you.
Yeah, that was a wonderful time. Love the laughter, love the games, love the music, love all the time the cousins get to spend together and the time I get with my siblings and my dad. It's just a wonderful week every year. Not everything there was peaches and creams, though. Um, Libby broke a toe. She managed to drop a kayak on it or a canoe on it. I didn't actually see it happen, but I did see the results of it after. Here, I know you'll like it. You take a look at this. Yeah, isn't that a pretty sight? That's what a broken toe looks like when it's bleeding under the nail. Well, she wasn't the only one who had a few issues like that. Went out canoeing with Sean into marshy area, and he got bitten up by the black flies there, and his foot swelled up, his leg was sore. We didn't go back in the canoe after that, but you know what? Those few things aside, it was a wonderful week. It's great to hear all the music going on with Zachary and Sarah and even Rachel and Hannah and Lisa all playing the guitar and singing. It was a wonderful time. One of the things I enjoyed about the time was talking to my dad about some of the history of the camp and his early memories of what it was like being here. I recorded a little bit of our talk together, and you can listen to it right here, right now, and learn a little bit about the Green Grocer and what they used to do for fun. All right, hold on, take a watch.
These two wheels came from a greengrocer's carriage who used to bring vegetables and things like that along Flat Rock Road, and Grandma would go up and buy from him. All right. Now, I do not know. That's my understanding of these wheels. All right. I don't know why we have them and he doesn't. Right. But I can remember as a kid when this did not have this tough undergrowth on it. All right. Now we would take one of these wheels and we would go up as high as we could, and we would roll it down. No bushes here, and we would roll it down as far as we could. And if I remember correctly, it sometimes went in the water. Sometimes it just hit a tree. But that was a lot of fun.
I think today if we told our kids, hey guys, you want to have a good time? No, 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 we're not going to play games, don't play video. Go out to the hill out here and roll the wheel down, see if you can reach the lake. They'd look at us like we were crazy. But you know what? Back in the day, that was a fun thing to do, and it's fun to learn about it. Dad also told me a little bit about what the camp was like on those first few summers when his grandfather first came to the camp. So listen to this.
Yeah. All right. Now this is Jess and Jeff's tent.
Lovely.
Right. John Cole, John My Uncle John,
Mm-hmm.
who is now 94, told me once, several years ago, that they had, of course, when he was growing up, and this was built in 24, let's say he was 10 years old.
It was his parents who
His
started
parents
the
built
camp.
the camp.
Okay.
My grandfather and grandmother. And John told me that just about up here, they had a hole dug in the ground, which they lined in some fashion, probably with pieces of wood. And then they covered it. And that was their refrigeration. If they wanted to preserve something, even for a short time, and don't forget a greengrocer came along here selling stuff. And if they bought something they had to preserve, say overnight even, I don't know, they put it in the hole, in the ground, and they covered it. And it was the natural coolness of the earth that kept this stuff refrigerated. There was no camp here.
Okay.
There was nothing here except trees and underbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since the refrigerator, so-called, was up here and that was a hole in the ground, my guess is that they either were up here, but I don't think they were that close to the refrigerator. I have a feeling they were down here. Nobody has ever told me where they lived, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they did not live inside of a camp. Grandpa and Grandma had a let's call it an old-fashioned canvas tent, which means that it simply went down like this at both ends, and it was staked down, and they had cots inside. You didn't go inside it to do anything unless it was raining cats and dogs. Ordinarily, you just went in there to sleep and sit or something like that. And the kids eventually had tents of their own, but they also slept on upturned boughs from the trees. And they all did this. And we're talking about Aunt Virginia, Aunt Barbara, that's my mother, Barbara, Aunt Gwen, Uncle John, Uncle Putnam, he died early, and Aunt Mary Lou. They had 6 children, and they brought them all up here in, I don't know what kind of car, but I know that John used to talk about flat tires, tires coming up here. And my grandfather was a minister down in Bennington.
This was called Minister's Row at one point, wasn't it?
This was called Minister's Row.
Yeah.
And John Leonard Cole, my grandfather, was a Methodist minister. That camp over there, whose name I don't remember, they were ministers. And I believe there was a minister's camp on the other side, all right? Now, this camp went up in 1924. And when my mother was dying, and she was born in 1912, she was the second eldest Cole child. When she was dying, her memory absolutely went. She didn't know my name. She didn't know my brother John's name. She didn't know David's name. We were gone out of her memory. What she remembered, and I swear to God this is truth, she remembered sleeping on pine boughs here at Benediction. And that has got to mean that was just one of the greatest things she ever did in her life. If you wonder what's going on here in relation to the Coles and the camp, they built this place, they lived here every summer, and they knew every kid on the row and over in Thompson's Point. They knew all the families. It was still true 15 years ago that if I came up here and talked about John Cole, my uncle, everybody knew John Cole.
Mm-hmm.
John Cole's name can still probably open doors, even though he's no longer here, right?
Right.
But the Coles have been here just as long or longer than anybody else.
I think I'm glad that they built the cabin and we have an actual bed to sleep on instead of sleeping under the pine boughs or on top of the pine boughs, whichever the case may be. But you can see from looking around that even now we have some people sleeping out in tents. So some of us are still out on the ground, but when you put 14 people into a cabin that's meant for 7, that's what you get. So I'm just glad we have Jessica and Jeff who like to sleep out there. Someday we're going to take over the elder hostel and someone else will be out on the tent. We'll see. One of the things we do every summer when we're in Vermont is we go blueberry picking. And it's a wonderful patch, and it's also a winery there, and they make blueberry wine, and we go to the wine tasting and leave some of the cousins maybe finishing up picking the blueberries. Well, here's a little clip. You can see the blueberry fields for yourself. We had a little competition with Jacob and Zach to see who could hold more blueberries in their mouth. Take a look. So we're going to see who can get more blueberries in their mouth. Zach or Jacob?
Trace. Great.
Both very talented.
Four.
Oh, where are the blueberries? I don't know.
What are you at?
33.
33? Very good. 33 blueberries? What are you at, Zach?
45.
You are not. Hey, Zach. Well, as you can see, I'm not quite sure who the winner was because I didn't let them finish. You know, you're the uncle or dad. You can end a contest whenever you feel like ending it. I have one short little clip I want to share with you, and then we'll hit the road. This is Aunt Libby, or my sister Libby, or your daughter Libby, or wherever she falls in the family for you. She had come to visit me here in Yellow Springs along with my mom, and had a couple conversations with Dave Chappelle while she was here, who she isn't used to seeing around town. And well, I think my gray hair might have done me in that time. So here's my question I had to pose to Libby. We were walking to eat lunch, and Mom and I were going to the restaurant, and turned around, and you and Hannah had turned around to go the other way.
Yes.
I was like, where are they going? I said, well, they want to see if that's really Dave Chappelle that they walked past.
Yes.
And it was.
Yes.
And you're not used to seeing him around. We see him around town all the time.
So you were used
but
to it.
I understand that wasn't the only time that you saw him.
It's not.
And did you have another conversation with Dave Chappelle when the rest of us weren't there?
I had a couple conversations with him.
And what tell us about it.
Because he kept talking to me.
Why?
Okay, so then you and Mom and I, we were at the cafe. I don't remember the name of it. We were in the back of the cafe, and then
Dino's,
and then later in the day, I don't remember when, he said to me, he like tried to stop me on the sidewalk, and I was like, hey, and then he said, oh yeah, where are you from? And I told him I was visiting from California. And he's like, yeah, I saw you this morning at Dino's with your mom and dad.
Yeah, and who are you
your
with?
Parents. And I was there with you and Mom.
I know. I don't like that.
I saw you there with your parents, your mom and dad, yeah. And I laughed and I said, yeah, that's my family.
You heard a song by Bruno Mars earlier in the show. Well, as we close things up, and it's just a short video today, listen to Zach and Sarah singing their version of that same song. Have a good day, and be good.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you.